Yeah.
because we'll start with where things finish. Survivor is often described as an emotional roller coaster, and in one evening, you got to experience the frustration of, your plan going up in flames, the devastation of getting voted out, and then simultaneously the confusion of one of your former allies giving you a standing ovation on the way out. Give me your entire reaction over the course of that 45-second period of time.
Oh my God. I was really proud of myself because I was like, damn, I am serving in my final episode. I made myself laugh when I watched myself crack open all the coconuts. I made myself cry when I cried when I didn't get picked for the reward, and I made myself proud when I, saw myself playing so fucking hard. I was doing the best that I could, and I was trying to appeal to really smart people. I was trying to appeal to really smart people with logic. And it didn't work out, but I don't really think there was anything else I could do. But and then oh my God, I wanted to cry out of sadness when I got voted out, and I did not expect that I would be crying out of fucking laughter at David standing up. I had heard about that moment, okay? Like honestly, I did not see that. When it was happening, I did not see that. I was, out of body when it was all going down. And I had heard people be like, "Yo, David stood up." And I'm like, "The fuck?" Like stood up once, sat down, or like what's going on? Like but to see him just literally stand up as if I'm his fallen comrade. I love David so much. That was hilarious. David has always been just a really, he's got a lot of heart. And in that moment, he was feeling it. So yeah, it's fucking hilarious. And also Star trying to hold back her laughter, trying to be like as polite as she could, literally while in her mind thinking, God damn, David, sit your ass down.
Well,
I know that's what Star was thinking.
I want to stay on the David train for a second because this clearly was, one of your tightest relationships throughout
Yeah,
the whole game. I'd love to
yeah.
hear your perspective on it, especially because, when I talked with David about it, he sort of vocalized that, maybe it was not as requited in a manner of speaking. I think he said that you were, rather clingy
Clingy.
with all the stuff, yeah, with the stuff
Yeah.
that he was doing. Give me your reaction to all that and your perspective on the relationship.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I saw that David called me clingy, I was like, David, come on. I love David. But I have to clear up that from the first day of new Logi, David, Eva, and I collectively agreed that we would be working together. We were collectively hyped to work together because it was mutually beneficial. I hope you put the emphasis on those things. Um, Mutually italicized beneficial because I was a number for them. And they were the first people since day five when Kevin got voted out who wanted to work with me, who I could trust. I mean, we see Eva is not a good liar. Eva does not really lie. And so, who doesn't want to work with someone who doesn't lie? And then David, so fucking strong. Like, I know people are gonna be like, oh my God, she said he was so fucking strong. Okay, guys, there was nothing romantic going on between me and David, ever, 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 nor will there ever, ever be. But David was gonna help us win challenges and prevent and stop me from going back to tribal council. Coming from Vula, where I went to tribal council every single fucking time that one could go to fucking tribal council, I was elated that now I could work with someone who could prevent that. Um, and and yeah, so it from the beginning, it was David, Eva, and I collectively agreeing that we were going to work together. And they didn't also show that Eva and I had a relationship as well, which got completely soured when, they voted out David. But, listen, I don't think people understand the desperation that I felt coming from Vula. I know desperation is not cute, but also there is no way that anybody who survived Vula would not be desperate because I felt like I had gotten so many second chances. And so every time that I was alive on that island, I was like, I was like, it can be my last day. And so they wanted to work with me and I could trust them. And listen, if you're selling, I'm buying.
Well, I want to talk about some of the final things that you did in this episode, going back to the Eva of it all, because, unlike that machete you were swinging around, you were blunt at some of the stuff that you were doing, whether it was that conversation with Eva over the coconut where you tell her, like, listen, you're probably going on a reward and I'm not, which ends up becoming
Definitely.
true.
I said you're definitely going on a reward.
Yeah.
You will be picked. You will be eating tomorrow.
And then you have obviously your sort of move where you just tell Joe openly in front of a mixed company, yeah, I'm voting for you. Were these part of any sort of tactics you were pursuing, or was this more so from like a don't give a fuck attitude? I'm on the way out anyway, might as well like really call out what these people are doing to their face.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would have more tact if I felt like I had more life in the game.
Hmm.
Um, but I knew that it wasn't going to happen, whatever I was trying to cook up. And so I just reverted to my real life self, which is incredibly blunt. Um, and I'm very happy that I did it because, like, listen, it's not very often that you get to say what you really feel to people's faces.
Mm. So, I mean, to that point, you had experienced some really interesting conversations with both Eva and Joe in last week's episode,
Yeah.
right? Where you had even sort of called out in the confessional, like, yeah, I know this is jury management on both of your parts. Talk to me about what your reception to that was. Because, I mean, to your point, you had a tight relationship with Eva earlier. So I imagine you were feeling a certain way where after David's blindsided, she sits you down and to a certain extent is basically like, yeah, listen, I'll try to protect you, but no promises.
Yeah, no. Um, I didn't enjoy that conversation with Eva at all, but also I left it being like, damn, respect. Like that's a hard thing to say to someone's face to be like, hey, I don't know if I want to, I'm not working with you anymore. Um, I didn't like it, but I did respect it. Um, I think because like in my life, I have like struggled to be I'm really blunt now, but in the past I'd struggled with people pleasing tendencies. And so I was like, damn, she's just being real. Um, I want to say I did the reason I asked her if she would use the idol on me is because when she unlocked Star's idol, um, she was like, I'm using this on all of us. And so, you know, a girl's got to shoot her shot, right? Like, if she said that before, like, maybe she still means this. Maybe. Um, so yeah, that conversation with Eva, I was okay with it because she wasn't pretending to be doing anything. Joe's, I was annoyed at. I was like, damn, I gotta sit through this. Because it was very clear, and I love Joe and Eva both, in real life. Not in the game, but in real life. And with Joe's, I was just like, damn, like you're really wasting both of our time right now by like making me sit through this. It's also not helping you at all in any way. It's not achieving what you think it's achieving.
You mentioned before that, you had a very good sense that everything you were pitching was not being caught by everyone outside of Joe and Eva. Why do
Yeah.
you think that was the case? Was it particular relationships? Was it just the way the game was at? What made you feel like this was such an open and shut vote to get you out?
Okay. So to keep myself organized, I think it's two prong. The answer is two prong. I don't know. Do people even say that? Whatever. And then, but the reason I knew it was happening was because nobody made eye contact with me. Like the last couple of days was really hard for me because I knew that it wasn't personal, but I really felt it in my heart because in my head I knew it wasn't personal, but there's a lag between your heart and your head. And my what my heart was picking up was that nobody's talking to me. It looks as if I'm going to infect people with cooties if they just make eye contact with me. So that's how I knew. And I think the reason is two prong. First, the relationships that the people had were really tight. Like throughout the season, you hear people saying, this is a season of relationships and connections. I left that island thinking that I was going to be like Venus and not have a single friend. I left the island before I got to Ponderosa and I thought, damn, I'm really going to have to go to these viewing parties with people. And well, actually, I'm not going to go to them. The one that, you know, if there's one that the show is hosting, I'll go to that. But like any other ones, like, damn, I guess I'm just going to watch it solo. So in a season of connections, I had no connections, and everyone else had day one connections. Kyle and Camilla, Eva and Joe, Shaheen, Eva and Joe. And so I think they were just really tight. And the second reason, two prong, right? Not one prong, is that people were after the game, a lot of people came up to me and they were like, yo, we're sorry we didn't play with you. We're sorry we didn't talk to you or try to get to know you because we thought you were a threat, and we thought that if you made it to final tribal council, you would win and take all the votes, rightfully or wrongfully.
Hmm.
My castmates viewed me as a threat. I think they didn't know that so much of me getting off of Vula was luck. But what they saw of me, their perception of me was that I was very manipulative, that I was, like physically not bad of a competitor. Um, and I don't know why everybody just kept saying I had good social game, but I'm like, the fuck? I like literally have not had like a personal conversation with any of you guys. I've tried, but I also just can't get along with you guys in the game. I don't know why. Um, but yeah, rightfully or wrongfully, my castmates viewed me as a threat, and they didn't tried me to view me as a threat, and they didn't want to sit next to me in Final Tribal Council.
Well, you talk about these sort of duos or, day ones. You had a rather complicated, I don't even know if you want to call it a friendship, a frenemyship with,
Oh,
say,
definitely not a friendship.
well, I want to hear your perspective on this, twosome between the tailing at each other through the jungle, the arguing in tribal council, the
Well,
the truce that you make, the
yeah,
decision to turn everything at
yeah.
the merge.
We weren't tailing each other. I was being tailed.
That's very true, very valid, yeah.
I want to preface all of this by saying that after the game ended, Say called me and apologized, and I accepted her apology. So
Wow.
I just want to say that, preface everything that I say with that. But yeah, out there, she made my life a living hell. Um, I did not have fun at all on Vula. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, did you have fun?" And I literally told people, like after the season ended, right? People were like, "Did you have fun?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't have fun. Like, are you crazy? Were we watching the same show? I'm literally being chased. I feel like I'm prey right now. I'm on the island. I'm walking with Justin and Say, and Justin, Say, or Cedric. They're always staying a few steps behind me, whispering about me. And I just keep turning my head around to like interrupt their conversation because I don't want them plotting against me. Like I slept on the beach while all of them slept in the shelter because I could not stand the fact that I had to sleep and be vulnerable when you're most vulnerable near people who wanted me out. From the first tribal council, I was on the outs. So yeah, no, I was not having fun at all. And that was mainly due to Say, but also because she's such a great competitor. But yeah, when I said that I was having fun, Mike, I was lying. I was not lying to other people. I was lying to myself. In the
Mm.
game of Survivor, you have to lie, and sometimes that means lying to yourself. I knew that the only way that I could make it was not be physically strong, but mentally strong. I knew that if I allowed myself to feel the isolation, the fear and the rejection and the hopelessness that I actually was feeling, I would not have the strength to make it to the next day. Not that I'm being so dramatic, not as if I'm going to fucking keel over and die, but um, I knew that I had to lie to myself and say that I was having fun. I had to try to convince myself that everything was okay. I did a pretty good job of that, convincing myself and I guess convincing other people. But yeah, no, I did not have fun at all. But you know what? That's okay because even though life is about having fun, I firmly believe that. Meaningful experiences are not always fun.
Mm. Yeah, it's a very good way to put it. I mean, on that note, I would love to hear about how you sort of reflect upon your experience. Because look, to say it was not ideal would be an understatement, considering all the times you were on the bottom, facing this tribe decimation, getting this exhilaration of playing your shot in the dark, but then facing all of these other, moments of tumultuousness. So, how do you look back upon this experience?
I look back upon this experience and recognize the power of emotional strengths. The
Mm.
reason why I didn't even make it to the final phase of the last challenge that I was in was not because I physically couldn't do it. It's because my soul was tired. Listen, like this feel after Justin, after Stephanie, after Kevin, after Justin, after David, after Star, I had that familiar feeling of surviving tribal and for half a millisecond being like, woo, and then immediately dipping down, my stomach like dropping to my feet, thinking, okay, great, but like, what the fuck is next?
Mm.
And day that was okay, like from the first tribal council. Now we're at day 21. I had felt this feeling so many fucking times. And I think my soul was just like, girl, maybe it's time. I could not imagine a way forward. And looking back, I see that maybe if I literally won all of the immunity challenges afterwards, I could have done it. But I was just tired. I felt like I had been actively antagonized on Vula, and then I felt like I had been intentionally ostracized, um, like the last few days. And I think my body and my soul was trying to protect me from having more emotional harm.
Mm.
But
I mean,
I would like to say also that like I understand why people did that. Like everybody out here is playing. I have a lot of grace for myself, but that means I also extend it to other people. The people that I played the game with, for everyone, it was their first time playing, and for everyone, everybody was making the decision that they thought was best for themselves. I cannot fault them for that, and I cannot fault myself for like feeling incredibly hurt by the last few days of the game. Like when we came back from the challenge, um, nobody said anything to me. I thought that like, oh my God, if someone is going to cry in front of Jeff because they didn't get picked for the reward, at least somebody would be like, hey man, like it's okay. Nobody said anything to me. I felt incredibly hurt by that, but I also knew that it's because also it was such a tense time and everybody was in their heads and disappointed in themselves, too focused on their own perceived failures to extend any kind of empathy towards me.
this is why I love having conversations with you, Mary, is that you're incredibly open and incredibly eloquent with what you express. But I think the fact that you've been able to reflect not only upon your own feelings, upon, again, an incredibly arduous experience, but then also extend that grace to the others just speaks about who you are and what you were able to bring within yourself that allowed you to last 3 weeks within an absolutely up and down experience. So as
Thank you
always,
so much.
I really relish not only the conversations we get to have, but the fact that you have been incredibly open about the fact that Survivor is not going to be this incredibly positive, life affirming experience for each and every person. And so, as always, as we saw in this last episode, lovingly so, I'm so thrilled you're able to open up about all of that today because I think it's incredibly clarifying for a lot of fans too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like literally it you know how I was talking about how I thought I would be, just like bitter and not have any friends. That completely changed for me when I got to Ponderosa. When
Mm.
I was getting out the bus, before I got out the bus, I looked out the window and I saw Cedric, Star, Chrissy, and David standing outside. I thought, oh fuck, like, wow, like I think I am gonna have some friends. Like these people are showing me care and love, something that I didn't really experience, or especially in the last part of the game, but I guess in the beginning too. Um, and that completely changed my outlook on this experience. Ponderosa was incredibly healing for me.
Mm.
Um, and I really, really have to like shout out all of those people, Jerry, who welcomed me for really healing me, honestly.
Well, thank you so much for welcoming me and all the fans into this conversation today. And again, opening up about this game, Mary. You know how much I adore getting the chance to talk with you. And I know this won't be the last time. So, sincerely, thank you. Always
Thank you,
so
Mike.
great to
You're the
hear.
best.
Of course, you're the best as well. All the best to you and your family as well. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
as always, Mary. Have an amazing day.
Cheers. See ya.
Bye.